Welcome to Battlerite, where trees want to eat you, women will electrify you if you touch them, and the guy that looks like Hanzo has the same stereotype as Hanzo.
Ryuga wagateki, go fuck yourself.
And I am convinced that on lower ranks, the absolute best god tier champion is this guy, RAIGON. The lore of this guy is simple. He has a biggest sword because he is compensating for something small. For example, small amount of fun he brings to whoever picks him. I personally can't stand playing RAIGON, because I feel dirty every time I play him. But for a few reasons, he just works on lower ranks. First of all, this is my loadout for RAIGON. It works best, and it's one of his strengths. He can have just one build that fits any situation, and you don't need to switch between different builds, depending on who you are playing against. RAIGON's strengths are pretty straightforward. First of all, he is very mobile. Not only he has a jump like almost everyone else, but also if you use Aerial Strike Battlerite, his Seismic Shock ability can be recast in order to leap to the target that is already being controlled. This is probably the best gap closer in the game. Think about it, you can use your range poke ability like everyone else, and if it connects, you can recast it and appear right next to the target. It's like the best way to initiate, period. But that's not all. After you do that, the target, at least on lower ranks, is gonna blow all of his abilities in order to get some distance from you, while you are cutting him to pieces with your big ass sword. Once the target uses his jump, you can use your jump in order to land on his face. And now it's just you and him, with no jumping abilities up, which means that you are free to cut all the pieces you want from that poor bastard. Allow me to demonstrate. And now you probably understand the second best ability on lower ranks that RAIGON has, Parry. Deflecting abilities back at enemies is pretty fun, especially considering that on my rank nobody seems to know how to cancel abilities, but be aware of that, there are some smartasses here and there. So in order to get the highest chance of deflecting stuff, you wanna use it right before the projectile shoots. Do not, I repeat, do not use deflect as soon as you see someone charge the shot. Use it only by the end of the charge. Also, with the Battlerite riposts, you will have a guaranteed stun in the end of the parry. If you come close to most champions and use parry, they will have a choice between staying close to you and getting stunned, which will result in receiving a lot of damage, or to use their jump ability, which means that you will have an easy time sticking to the target with all of your mobility. Speaking of being sticky, RAIGON is one of the stickiest champions in the game. I'd say he's on a second place, right after Shifu, because that guy is even stickier than a bubblegum on the bottom of your shoe. But anyways, if you want to get the maximum sticky potential, then Royal Descent and Binding Lights are the way to go. As I said, there's only one god and Muhammad is his prof... oh sorry, wrong script. There's only one right build and that's it. The EX abilities. I'd say his EX1 can be useful sometimes. If you really need some heals, it can come in handy. But I have never ever used his EX2 in an actual match. For me it just doesn't make sense. Not only I have to spend 1 bar of EX meter to throw out some ranged poke ability, which I very well may also miss, but also if I happen to hit someone with it, why wouldn't I teleport to the target right away and start slicing it to pieces? And if I do that, why would I need to incap the target? I don't know, RAIGON's EX2 is terrible. You can forget that it exists most of the time. Either that or I just haven't achieved the maximum efficiency on that champion yet. His Dragon Palm is decent if you wanna add some more control on top of your already high control, so you can control the target while you are controlling the target. Also, it can help you take the middle orb by pushing it away from the enemy. The ult is okay, most of the time I personally use it on the orb when the enemies are standing next to it. This move will both almost guarantee the orb to my team, force enemies to get the hell out of middle while dealing damage to them, and maybe even force them to use their space. Pretty neat, but not the best ult out there. I would rate it 3 out of 5 anime fights. So that's all of my tips.